The Ontario PCs want to invest $5 billion into new TTC subways, but want to own them too. The Tories unveiling their new policy plan today, 6 months before the provincial election. Part of it involves taking over financial responsibility for Toronto's subway network and expanding it significantly throughout the GTA. I'm joined now by transit blogger and expert Steve Munro. Now, on the surface of it, it sounds like great. Let the province take over ownership of the subways. But what do you think about that?
It's not quite that simple. First of all, $5 billion doesn't go very far in terms of building stuff, and they're listing several new lines. They want to take over funding the Scarborough subway. Yeah. They're talking about the Relief line, the Richmond Hill subway, and the Shepherd subway extension to Scarborough.
$5 billion is not going to cut it.
$5 billion ain't going to cut it. And also the way the platform reads, they'll start spending that $5 billion on the extra money we need to finish the Scarborough subway, because we know the costs are going up on that. And whatever's left over will begin the other lines. So it sounds like a lot, but it's not really a huge investment.
But should they take over sort of the running of the subways and the maintenance and the tunnels and the tracks?
They're doing an interesting kind of dodge compared to the last election when they talked about a complete takeover of the subways. This time they're saying we'll take over ownership and responsibility for paying for some of this stuff, but they would leave the day-to-day operation of the subway in the hands of the TTC on a contract basis.
You know, one of the criticisms obviously has been that it's very easy for people, and I mean, he's been criticized, Patrick Brown has, for, you know, making promises willy-nilly.
Yes.
You know, how realistic is it that he could achieve these things that he says he's going to?
Well, I would ask the question a different way, because when I look at the platform, it's headed change for transit users, and a lot of the things in the platform are things that are going to happen anyway. And all that Patrick Brown is doing is sort of putting a nice blue Ontario spin on it and saying, we're going to commit to doing things that the Liberals might not have carried through on. That's not the same thing as coming out with a long list of here's what's really different about their platform versus the Liberals.
Isn't the biggest problem that we have had over the last decades is changing governments that then, you know, reverse things and renege and go back on plans, and, you know, stuff doesn't get done because of a lack of decisive action on new administrations coming in?
I mean, definitely it's the, oh, I've got my plan problem.
Yes.
And even if it's just a case of changing the colors of the lines on the map, that can cost you 2 years because you redo all the studies because maybe purple works better than pink. I mean, that's literally what it comes down to sometimes. The real issue, I think, is going to be translating what are some rather vague promises. If you're actually familiar with the nuts and bolts, is he actually going to be deliver these? And frankly, some of them are not changes that can be delivered in one term of a provincial government. And so you really have to scratch your head and say, looks nice on paper, but it's a really long haul to get to some of these changes.
All right, Steve Munro, thank you so much for coming in tonight.
Welcome.
Appreciate it.